Hi guys, welcome back to the Department of Filtration. Today we're going to be doing a different experiment. We're going to be looking at these two fuel filters and testing how it actually works to filter out particles out of diesel fuel. So I've got a super cheap brand here and a Fleetguard one. And then of course we'll cut them open and have an inspection of what's going on in there. So I'll start with the Fleetguard one. You'll open it up and just have a look. So these are both fuel filters off diesel Land Cruisers, 1HZ, 1HD Land Cruisers. So it's the FF5159 and this super cheap one. It's SCF252, yep. So on the boxes there's not much info. Super cheap's interchangeable with Ryco part number. Fleetguard's just your standard. Not much going on. So, first thing to say in this comparison is that this is the Saturday here this morning, and on a Saturday morning in town, this is the cheapest filter I could find in this part number. For this, yeah, so for this part number, this is the cheapest brand, and this is $30, so quite expensive. You know, you'd want to hope it works well. And this one here, this one that I had, but it is only $15. Just trying. So we've seen a lot on this channel. More expensive doesn't necessarily mean better, and if we're going off brand name, everybody would know that the Fleetguard one has a better name, but it is cheaper. So we're going to be putting these two to the test today. Have a look at the construction later on, but they both come plastic wrapped, so which is good. They both come with an O-ring on the bottom. On the bottom here is where the water and fuel sensor goes. So we will see later, but in this canister here, the element actually only goes up to here and the rest is just an empty bowl. That's where water sits and the sensor screws up there. They both come with O-rings for that. So it's pretty basic. Some instructions on there. Got our flat-faced gasket on there, which comes off pretty easy, but it's a fuel filter, so it's not going to get baked on with heat. 5 inlet holes, well, outlet holes. What are they? Inlet holes. And this, yeah, they're outlet holes, that's right. So on these particular filters, from what I understand, from what I've seen and done a bit of research on today, same as sort of the old CAV filters, the inlet's actually the middle. So it comes down through the middle and then it'll go up through the filter media and out these holes. So these are actually outlet. Take a look at our Fleetguard. O-rings flying about everywhere. Fleetguard O-rings a lot better fit. It's actually got a seat and it sits in. This one, it's not even anywhere near close to that. Anyway, get rid of them now. Not really terribly important for this. They've both got plastic threads in the bottom. The Fleetguard on the top doesn't have a flat-faced gasket. It's got a half circle, which is a little bit nicer. Stayed in a bit better too. Still got the 5 outlet holes. A little bit of metal deflector on the inside there, it looks. On the outside, Fleetguard. Difference on the Fleetguard is the writing's actually going to sit the right way when it's on the housing. So what this test is going to consist of, these filters are a bit of a handy setup. How the inlet, that hole is the inlet, not the outlet. And they've got this big hole in the bottom, because what that means is we can plug this hole, turn it upside down and pour fuel in the top, and it'll come out these holes filtered, which is what we want. So that's the idea, and we're going to sit them on here like this, pour some dirty fuel and see how it goes through. So, and the way we're going to be having dirty fuel, I've got some clean diesel here and got some graphite powder. So this is the powder they use to lubricate locks and stuff, but it's generally considered that graphite powder is about somewhere between 5 and 10 microns. Now a good diesel filter should filter at least down to 5. You would hope that it would go to 2, but 5 in my opinion is a must. If you care about your engine, that is. So we're going to put this in here, it'll turn the diesel black, and we'll put it through the filter and see whether it takes it out of it or not. And in terms of the hole here, I've just got a bolt. I'm going to put this washer on here and an O-ring. So when I do that up tight on that, there's going to seal off our centre hole nicely. Still allow fuel to flow out of the other holes and down. So that is what we're going to be doing. I'll go ahead and get some of this stuff set up. Rightio guys, so the first one we're going to test is the Fleetguard. Try and set a little bit of a standard of what it should be, hopefully. Trusting that it's going to do a half decent job. So we're going to go ahead and mix some of this powder in here. It's a little bit chunkier than I would have thought, but in a good mix. There we go. Now you can clearly see that that is a black fluid instead of our nice clear diesel, or diesel colour, yellowy greeny diesel. Now what I'll do is I've got the bottom sealed off on the filter here. Got it sealed off with our bolt. And what I'll do is I'll get up there and pour some of this fuel through and see what happens. Quite ready in case I spill it. Right, yeah, so I filled that up a fair bit there. And we've had it pass through. Now we can see there we've got the tiniest bit of a black tinge. It's not 100% pure, but it looks a lot different to that. That's an interesting result. So what I'll do now is I just take that bolt out and we'll keep this as our sample. And we'll come back. Rightio guys, we're back. I've got this one all taken apart. Got some more dirty fuel here and the super cheap one set up ready to go. I'll just check that down nice and tight. And we just do the exact same thing here. I'm just gonna stand up, this a bit of stir. Pour some fuel through. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't actually tip any fuel into that. Make it dirtier than it is. And right away there we can see an immediate difference in the quality of that filtration for sure. First note is, didn't take nearly as long to soak through the filter as it did the Fleetguard. It's almost as if it just fell through rather than had to soak through the paper. Considering these have never been wet before. So, before I change anything, you can see the difference there. I'll have a closer look at them in a minute, but I'll just get this cleaned up a little bit. Rightio guys, so I got that back here. I just got these on a bit of white paper. Happens to be a Fleetguard catalogue, but this is the Department of Filtration. So I've got our two single pass filtered bits of diesel here, and I can tell you I know which one I would like to have in my engine. It's the Fleetguard one here. It's not the exact same colour as pure diesel. You would hope that your fuel did not look like that when you got it at the servo. If it did, I'll be complaining about it. So, just pretty severe, but all I'll do is bring you down a little bit closer, bring you up so you can see that there. It's still clear though. I'd say, given that the particle sizes in the graphite are anywhere generally between 5 and 10, can be as small as 2, can be as big as 20. I would say that I would guess that's probably filtered down to 5 microns, and what's left of that tinge is 2, 3, 4 microns. It's actually pretty clear, not bad. I think, single pass filtration is really hard. You have to be able to maintain the flow of fuel to the engine while only filtering it once. It's not like an oil filter where it's keep on coming back and back and back and back and back and back and back. And you can't put a bypass filter on a fuel system either, because it just doesn't make sense like that. So single pass, single fuel filter. This engines normally have more than one, but in this case we're testing this one. And then this is our glorious super cheap auto filter, which cost double the amount of our Fleetguard filter here. And we can see we've gained a little bit of transparency there, but that is still black. Now I don't know if you guys can see that there. Yeah, you can. You can literally still see bits. Let me bring it down closer. Maybe you see that, but you can literally still see things suspended in that fuel. You can see the bits there move when I jiggle that fuel. On the other hand here, we got no suspended items. So for that to not only have a black tinge but be fully suspended particles, that's quite sad. I would say that filter have to be below standard. Surely the Australian standard can't be this. I would not want that going through my injector pump. Rightio folks, so we've seen what they do. Now I'll move this back. We'll cut these bad boys open and have a look what's inside there, what's actually doing the job, what isn't. We've sort of had a look at them already on the outside. A little bit dirty now, but it's still just black. Look at it. I'll cut them both open and we'll come back. Oh yeah, sorry guys. I got this one cut open alright, but I had my fancy filter cutter adjusted wrong for this. So I had to mangle it a little bit, but essentially we had that on there. And then this over the top glued down. So cardboard on the inside. Cardboard right there, and a rubber seal that sits on there. I'm not quite sure how the pressure gets held on that. There's not really a spring or anything in there. But that seal there is alright. It's average. So just going to pull this out. Just sort of a bit unconventional, but it's a fair bit different to a oil filter. So rip that. Get our cement core out. So there's our diesel and graphite soaked filter media. Our cardboard centre tube. Right there. Now, in terms of the rest of the filter, it's not too much there. You've got your... It's going to be really hard to cut out, so I'm not going to do it, but you can see down there I've just got a metal plate, very similar, nine identical to that one, bonded in there here at that line, and this media just sitting on there. And as you can see, this media it's like this, but it gets folded over and then glued along there. So and then glued to the next, so it ends up being a little parcel like that, all glued up, and it just passes up through, and it's got to come through this fold to be able to make it through there. My last video explored how the water separating element of these works. If you're interested in that, then I advise you check that video out. You can get an idea on how it's packed, of how much element there is there. It's quite dirty. Now I go to the other one. Again, I'll have to work out how to take it apart because this one's acted a bit different. one thing to notice off the bat, I did cut that differently, but I can get that back in. Fleetguard's taller by that much. I'll take that back out. So here, quite a different concept. We've got our metal plate in the middle, as you could see. Take that off. We got a nice solid plastic center core there, not cardboard. Quite sure I always want cardboard, but then this filter media in the same style as that, wrapped tightly around that core. Now I want you to look at this. Count the amount of nice, rough, unevenly spaced, chunky rounds of filter media there is there, and then look at that. And you can feel that in the weight of it too. I don't know the scale here, but this one here, just this element without the can would weighs more than 3 times this, I'm going to say. There's a huge weight difference there. And as you can see, this media out of this is absolutely soaked in black stuff. And half of it's still in the tin. This here, yeah, it's dirty, but it's not black. And neither is the fuel that came out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'll get a longer knife and I'll try and cut around here and get this off so I can have a close look at the middle. Alrighty guys, so I got this one open now. And we can see our filter element here. This is how it's wound up. Now, as you can see, it's built in a similar way to that. We've got a folded edge there. It gets folded down, stuck together, and then stuck to the next layer. So the fuel comes up, passes through the top, or any of these parts to go up and through. We've got our plastic center core, which appears to be sort of bonded into the middle a bit more than that one was. Our rubber gasket on the top, which is a nice fit, doesn't come out. Now our media is actually glued to the sides as well as the top of the can, and it's got this sort of deflector plate. This one here has got this plate which is built into the top of the canister, which sort of, I suppose, adds strength to this center core and then allows us to have something to push against that. And it keeps the media away from the what are they on this, outlet holes, so that it doesn't get in the way and cram it up. So it's quite a nice design there actually. And as you saw, nice, tight, evenly wound. Just because of how dirty they are, and that I'm not going to take it out and open it up, but you guys can see how much more media it's got in, and also the height. So that sits at that line there, and then above it's also got a huge amount more height. And it's just taken that graphite a lot better. This is black, the super cheap one, and it's still let it through. And this just absorbed it like a sponge. A really, really good job. I'll show you those bits of fuel one more time. We are very much black. Proudly sponsored by Super Cheap Auto fuel there, and our nice relatively clear one there, proudly sponsored by Fleetguard will, just saying that neither of them sponsor this channel, but it's just a way of saying it. So there you have it. It's put into the test. Super Cheap Auto fuel filter compared to our was just trusted in the beginning. It's starting to become tried and trusted. Keep in mind, guys, this filter here is $30. This one's $15. You don't necessarily have to be scared by price. I would hope, if you're shopping at Super Cheap, I would hope that a Ryco filter of this, which costs $40, would do a little bit better job than this does. I still doubt whether it even live up to the performance of this. You could buy 2.5 of these for the price of a Ryco. But there you have it. Take care of your engines, guys. If you've got any questions about this test or filters, just drop them in the comments. Anything more you want to do, let me know. If you like this video, I appreciate it if you like it, and have a good day.